Ladies and gentlemen, we'll begin the IASAS Global Summit opening ceremony shortly. All the distinguished guests and attendees, I kindly ask you to turn off your cell phones or put them on silent mode. And also for today's event, simultaneous interpretation service will be provided. Channel 1 is Korean and Channel 2 is English. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll begin the IASAS Global Summit's opening ceremony shortly. All the distinguished guests and attendees, I kindly ask you to turn off your cell phones or put them on silent mode. And also for today's event, simultaneous interpretation service is provided. Channel 1 is Korean and Channel 2 is English. We'll now begin the opening ceremony of IASAS Global Summit. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for attending the IASAS Global Summit's opening ceremony. My name is Hye-Won Kim, your host for today. I hope all of you will have a great and fruitful time for today's event. And before we start today's event, let's watch the opening video prepared for the occasion.
Integrating the three institutions that were in charge of the student support system. In order to introduce Income Contingent Loan, ICL, which began in advanced countries such as Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom, before the establishment of the foundation, the preparatory committee and researchers studied and investigated the successful cases of Income Contingent Loan, ICL, abroad. Through this, we have achieved a remarkable accomplishment of launching the Income Contingent Loan, ICL, just after 6 months of the establishment. Furthermore, the Foundation began holding the International Forum on its own and studied diverse successful cases on student aid policies from Korean and overseas throughout 9 forums. Since then, in addition to holding forums, the Foundation has consistently expanded its cooperation in the field of higher education by participating in international events and visiting institutions. Through cooperation with the world's leading institutions and associations, and participation in international events, we have continuously expanded the horizon of international cooperation in student support. Even during the COVID-19 period, the Foundation promoted active international cooperation activities. In particular, the Foundation's mask support and the responses from each institution gave us time to confirm each other's willingness for greater cooperation. During the COVID-19 period, the Foundation sent 9,200 masks to 11 institutions and 8 countries as part of international cooperation and aid. The Foundation did not lose the importance of cooperation even during the COVID-19 period and continuously maintained diverse activities, looking forward to post-COVID cooperation. The Foundation continued international cooperation by transferring core competencies on the student support when the delegation from the Ministry of Education and student support organizations in Tanzania and Indonesia visited. It also established training projects for the Uganda Ministry of Education and HEFSB institutions as part of public aid. In 2022, the Foundation had the opportunity to prepare for the 7th IASAS Global Summit, and during its 1.5-year preparation, it was able to communicate deeply with leaders in the field of higher education student support. With the cooperation of IASAS, we have embodied events such as venue and timing of the Global Summit, and cultural events, etc. The Foundation has drawn cooperation with the Ministry of Education, local governments, public institutions, and various educational institutions in order to host the event successfully and to promote of the event. In particular, in order to persuade the government in the process of securing the budget of the Global Summit, Chairman Bae Byung-il personally visited the Ministry of Strategy and Finance to persuade the need for a global summit. Since then, in order to hold IASAS Global Summit successfully, we have strengthened the number of personnel in the department in charge and have increased the completeness of preparation by launching the Task Force TF. Korea's student support system was insufficient 15 years ago. However, With the establishment of the foundation, benchmarking overseas cases, we now came to spread our student support system to other overseas countries. As international cooperation expanded, Korea's student support expanded to include student loans, government grant, and even dormitories. Just like the miracle on the Han River, which means Korea's economic growth, Korea has also made its marvelous achievements in its student support system. We believe that more student support will begin in the midst of wider international cooperation. That is why today's Global Summit will lead to more opportunities. Under the theme of sustainable student support in educational institutions, the 7th IASAS Global Summit. It starts here in Daegu.
Thank you to the efforts and contributions of many, making it possible for us to all gather here today. And next, allow me to introduce the distinguished guests who are with us to celebrate today's event. Mr. Ahim Mayer of the High, the President of IASAS. Mr. Bae Byung-il, the Chairman of COSA. Mr. Oh Seok-hwan, the Vice Minister of Education. Ms. Kang Eun-hee, the Superintendent of Daegu Metropolitan Office and Education. Mr. Kim Sun-jo, the Deputy Mayor of Daegu Metropolitan City. Mr. Tong Tae-young, the President of the Korea Education and Research Information Service. He is not attended, unfortunately. Mr. Park Dong-sun, the Chairman of APAC International Education Cooperation. Mr. Lee Yun-hong, the President of the Central Education Training Institute. Mr. Kim Chan-yu, the Secretary General of the Korea Private School Promotion Foundation. The Deputy Ambassador of Czech Republic, Jana Symbolenkova. The Education Counselor of Australia, Jenny Pitt. Mr. Yeon Ok-hyun, the President of Kimcheon University. Mr. Jung Tae-ju, the President of Andong National University. Mr. Sung Han-gi, the President of Daegu Catholic University. Mr. Shin Il-hee, the President of Keimyung University. Mr. Lee Won-hee, the President of Hangyeong National University. Mr. Hong Won-hwa, the President of Gyeongbuk National University. Mr. Choi Wei-chul, President of Yeongnam University. Mr. Choi Sung-hae, the President of Dongyang University. Mr. Wei Jin, the President of Daegu NBC. Mr. Lee Dong-chae, the General Manager of Daegu KBS. And many of our distinguished guests from various fields are here with us today. But due to time constraints, we weren't able to introduce each one of you. We kindly ask for your understanding. And next, we'll have an opening speech. This opening speech will be delivered by Mr. Ahim Mayer of Hadad, the President of IASAS. Mr. Ahim, will you please come up to the stage? And Mr. Achim Meyer Alftahad has contributed to student support in Germany and Europe as the Secretary General of DSW, the German National Association for Student Affairs, and Chairman of ECSTA, the European Council for Student Affairs. Since 2015, he has been leading the development of international student support systems as the president of IASAS. Please welcome him with a warm round of applause.
Thank you very much for welcoming. Dear Chairman of COSAF, dear Mr. Byung-gil, dear representative of the Ministry of Education, dear Vice Minister Oh Seok-wan, dear representatives of Daegu, dear Superintendent Kang Eun-hui, dear Vice Major Son Jo Kim, dear ambassadors, dear honored guests, and at least dear Yvonne Wohl, IASAS Regional Director for Asia. My name is Achim Meyer Alftahad. I'm the president of IASAS, and I have the great pleasure to welcome you to the 7th Global Summit after Washington, D.C., Rome, Stellenbosch in South Africa, Santiago de Chile, Toronto, Cork, and Ireland. This year we meet in Daegu in Korea. It is the first time that IASAS is holding a global summit in Asia, and I'm very proud that we are here. You have seen we have a long cooperation with COSAF from the European side, and I'm very, very pleased to have a global summit here in Asia, in Daegu, which is supported by COSAF. I really appreciated that COSAF is giving us a chance to meet in Asia here in Daegu. I expressly thank you, dear Chairman, Mr. Byung-gil Bae, the COSAF team, and under the leadership of Yvonne Woh and the IASAS team, that all of you made this global summit possible. This year, at this global summit, we count over 250 participants from all or more than 40 countries. This is the largest number of all global summits. Thank you very much. We welcome leaders and delegations from Africa, North and South America, Europe, Asia, Australia, and Oceania. And I'd like to welcome and thank the keynote speakers as well, Professor Jouhaina Gherib, President of Manuba in Tunisia and Vice President, International Association of Universities, and Professor Birgit Phillips, Director of Higher Education, Didactics and Artificial Intelligence at Joanneum University of Applied Sciences in Graz, Austria, and as well all presenters and moderators in diverse sessions. The 7th Global Summit, that's really a great development. I wonder if our President Emeritus, Roger Ludeman, and founder of IASAS 6 expected really in 2010. Student affairs and services have in the meantime become visible worldwide as a key factor in higher education, independent from their shaping and their task. Higher education systems worldwide are different as well as SAS. In the last Global Summit, the shaping of student affairs and services still played a role, what would be the best way, universal internal student affairs or student services outside from universities. From my opinion, this doesn't matter. Both sides common is the aim to provide the best student support. We need both sides for student success. That's why I'm very happy that COSAF is giving us hospitality for this Global Summit. You will later learn a bit more about COSAF, but so much in advance. COSAF is a typical student service provider, especially providing financial support. And I had several opportunities to cooperate and to visit COSAF and to work with them together as an expert for study financing as well. Let me say some words about IASAS. IASAS is the one and global association for student affairs and services. We are really proud to gather professionals in student affairs and services and regional or national associations worldwide. Today we count around about 1,600 individual and institutional members around the globe. This is real internationalization and globalization. We represent professionals from a lot of national universities or student affairs and services institutions, and not only from international branch campuses whose headquarters are located in a small number of states. Our voluntary work members hard for this success in the last more than 1 decade, and they work not for profit. What has been done in the more than last decade, global summits, support to student affairs leaders around the world, common publications like Student Affairs and Services in Higher Education, global foundations, issues and best practices, which make student affairs worldwide visible. Research, political lobbying for student affairs and services. So we can summarize for today. In the meantime, student affairs are recognized as a key factor for access to higher education, for student success, and a necessary part of higher education. At this point, I would like to thank all our members for their contribution to this exciting development. But we shouldn't rest. The Global Summit will show future developments in higher education, will enable the exchange of diverse practices and solutions in student affairs and services. Higher education and student services and affairs worldwide are facing major challenges. The world is changing, and we talk about the situation of complex multiple crises. To mention are climate change, pandemics, military conflicts, autocratic governments, relation between global south and global north, diverse students population, and artificial intelligence. All of this has an impact on higher education and student affairs and services. What does this make to students' affairs? Higher education and student affairs services form the future elites. This can be a chance for creating a sustainable, peaceful world, but is well an obligation. What can student affairs and services do? From service about values and orientations of students we learn, the young generation has become more critical with our previous lifestyle. She calls for more sustainability, which is one of the topics of our Global Summit, for more and responsibility to shaping the society in the future, for more participation. And I think these matters have an impact for the design of student affairs, and we as professionals have to reflect the change and to find answers next to our long-time challenges like enabling access to higher education without exclusion, independent from origin and social background, promoting students' retention and success. So a stage for this reflection can be the Global Summit. I hope that this Global Summit will help you to develop common solutions for the mentioned challenges in cooperation with partners from all over the world. This Global Summit allows you as well to meet new colleagues, new ways of thinking and approaches from other regions of the world, and possibly to implement them in your home country. So take the chance and have a successful Global Summit. It's up to you with which new experiences you are going back to your home country and how you stay in touch with the colleagues after the Global Summit. At least, please allow me some personal remarks. Yesterday, the IASAS General Assembly elected a new board. After 9 years having served as president, I will retire and change to the incoming past president. These 9 years have been very exciting, and I would like to thank all board members for the fruitful and successful cooperation which brought IASAS so forward. I am sure that the future board, under the leadership of the next president, Birgit Schreiber, the vice president, David Newman, treasurer, Gianluca Giovannucci, and secretary general, Lisa Badel-Moscarolito, will continue our successful development. I thank again all board members I had in this period of 9 years, and I wish you now a successful Global Summit. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. For 9 years, it has been a Global Summit opening. Thank you once again. Next, we'll hear the welcoming address from Mr. Bae Byung-il, the chairman of COSEF. Mr. Bae Byung-il, please come up to the stage. And Mr. Bae Byung-il has contributed to academia and the legal field as a professor and dean at College of Law and Graduate School of Law at Yeongnam University, and served as vice president for special affairs at Yeongnam University. And since 2023, he's been leading the development of student support system in Korea as the 6th chairman of COSEF. Please give him a warm welcome once again.
안녕하십니까. 반갑습니다. 한국장학재단 이사장 배병일입니다. 저와 한국장학재단의 임직원들은 2024 국제학생지원연합 글로벌 서밋에 참여해 주신 여러분 모두를 환영합니다. 서밋의 유치부터 오늘의 개회식까지 여러분과 함께 하게 되어 기쁘게 생각합니다. 이번 행사를 축하해 주기 위해 참석해 주신 오석환 교육부 차관님을 비롯하여 대구시 교육청 강은희 교육감님, 대구시청 김선조 부시장님, 대학 총장님들, 각국 대사관 관계자 여러분, 그리고 대구 지역 기관장님, 대구 언론사 대표님들과 언론인 여러분들께 감사의 말씀을 드립니다. 또한 아시아 최초의 국제학생지원연합 글로벌 서밋의 공동개최의 기회를 주신 아힘 마이어 회장님을 비롯한 국제학생지원연합 집행간부님들과 각국의 회원님들께도 감사의 말씀을 드립니다. 마지막으로 교육부 청년인턴과 각 대학 학생지원 담당자, 대구시청, 경북도청, 대구교육청, 경북교육청 관계자분, 그리고 대학교육 및 취업 박람회에 참가하신 교직원, 학생, 학부모, 관계자 여러분들께도 감사의 인사를 드립니다. 한국장학재단은 2009년 5월 설립 이후 지난 15년간 의지와 능력이 있다면 누구나 고등교육의 기회를 가질 수 있도록 지원하고 있습니다. 설립 당시에는 학자금 대출 중심의 기관이었으나 이제는 국가자금을 비롯하여 초중등 교육 지원 사업과 연합 기숙사까지 범위를 확대하고 있습니다. 이에 더해 중위소득 이하 대학생들에게도 취업 후 상환 학자금 대출의 이자 면제를 지원하게 되었으며 국가장학금을 등록금 총액의 절반 이상으로 확대하고 근로장학금의 수혜 인원도 대폭 확대하게 되었습니다. 우리나라가 우리 한국장학재단 설립을 계기로 눈부신 학생 지원을 이끌어내었듯이 이번 서밋을 계기로 전 세계적으로 대학생에 대한 더 큰 투자가 이루어지기를 바랍니다. 이곳 대구에서 개최되는 글로벌 서밋은 온라인으로도 생중계되고 있고 전 세계 40여 개국에서 오신 200명이 넘는 참석자분들께도 80개 주제를 중심으로 이틀간 논의하게 되었습니다. 모쪼록 회원 여러분들께서는 준비하신 주제에 대해서 열정적인 발표와 심도 있는 의견 개진을 부탁드립니다. 2024 국제학생지원 글로벌 서밋 개회식에 참석해 주신 모든 분들을 다시 한번 환영합니다. 대단히 고맙습니다.
Thank you for your words, Chairman. Please give him another big round of applause. 네, 이사장님 말씀 감사드립니다. And next, we'll hear congratulatory remarks from Mr. Oh Seok-hwan, the Vice Minister of Education. Please welcome him with a warm round of applause. Vice Minister Oh Seok-hwan has contributed to the development of Korean education as a Director General of Planning and Coordination at the Ministry of Education and as Education Secretary at the Presidential Office. And since December 2023, he's been leading the development of education policies in Korea as the Vice Minister of Education. Please give him another warm welcome.
네, 고맙습니다. 안녕하십니까. 교육부 차관 오석환입니다. 존경하는 내외 귀빈 여러분, 고등교육 학생 지원을 위한 국가 간 교류와 협력의 새로운 장이 될 2024년 국제학생지원연합 글로벌 서밋의 개막을 축하드립니다. 국제학생지원연합회 아힘마이어 회장님, 9년간의 긴 재직 중에 우리 청년들의 삶을 발전시키는 데 큰 도움을 주셨습니다. 고맙습니다. 버기 슈라이버 부회장님을 비롯한 국제학생지원연합 회원 여러분, 진심으로 환영합니다. 아울러 대구에서 글로벌 서밋을 준비해 주신 한국장학재단 배병일 이사장님께 감사를 드립니다. 오늘 귀한 분들을 많이 모셨습니다. 강은희 대구 교육감님, 김선조 대구시 행정부시장님, 홍은아 경부대 총장님을 비롯한 여러 청장님들 반갑습니다. 그리고 여러 기관장님 여러분들께서도 많이 참석하셨습니다. 반갑습니다. 내외 기빈 여러분, 전 세계적으로 고등교육을 둘러싼 환경이 급격하게 변화하고 있습니다. 챗GPT 등 인공지능의 발전을 비롯하여 세계는 지금 급격한 디지털 대전환의 중심에 서 있습니다. 아울러 국가 간, 지역 간, 학문 간 연계와 융합이 강조되고 사회 각 부문의 경계가 모호해지는 빅블러의 시대를 살아가고 있습니다. 이렇듯 우리 청년들이 살아갈 미래사회는 완전히 다른 방식으로 바뀔 것입니다. 고등교육이 이러한 급격한 변화에 대응하기 위하여 지속 가능한 변화를 주도하는 교육기관 및 학생 지원을 주제로 한 글로벌 서밋은 매우 의미 있는 행사라고 생각을 합니다. 교육을 통해 지속 가능한 발전을 이루는 기반을 마련하고 경제적 여건에 관계없이 누구에게나 공정한 고등교육의 기회를 제공할 수 있는 방안에 대해 심도 있는 논의가 이루어지기를 기대합니다. 대한민국은 미래사회를 살아갈 청년 세대를 위해 과감한 고등교육 개혁을 추진하고 있습니다. 먼저 학과 간, 전공 간 벽을 허물고 융합과 연계를 지원하여 대학생들의 다양한 전공 선택 기회를 확대해 나가고 있습니다. 또한 교육과정 혁신, 학선 지원 체계 고도화 등을 통해 사회 각 분야의 혁신을 선도하는 융합 인재를 양성할 수 있도록 지원하고 있습니다. 무엇보다 대학은 지역사회의 지속 가능한 변화를 이끌어낼 수 있는 핵심적인 역할을 수행해야 합니다. 이에 대학이 지방자치단체, 기업 등과 산학협력, 지역발전, 직업교육 등 지역사회의 문제를 해결하고 지역사회와 함께 발전해 나갈 수 있도록 대학혁신 생태계 구축을 지원하고 있습니다. 대한민국은 2009년 학자금 지원 전담기관인 한국장학재단을 설립하여 경제적 여건에 관계없이 누구나 고등교육의 기회를 가질 수 있도록 국가 차원의 학자금 장학 지원 체제를 구축하여 운영하고 있습니다. 대학생 절반에 해당하는 약 100만 명의 대학생에게 소득에 따라 국가장학금을 지원하고 있으며 1.7%의 저금리 취업 후 상환 학자금 대출도 지원하고 있습니다. 지속 가능한 변화를 주도하는 교육기관 및 학생 지원을 위해 대한민국도 교육개혁과 디지털 교육 혁신의 경험을 국제사회와 적극적으로 나누고 협력하겠습니다. 이번 글로벌 서밋이 세계 각국의 고등교육기관의 혁신 사례를 공유하고 학생 성공을 위한 지원 방안을 마련하는 국제적 협력의 장이 되기를 기대합니다. 오늘 2024년 국제학생지원연합 글로벌 서밋에 참석해 주신 모든 분들의 건강과 건강을 기원합니다. 고맙습니다.
Thank you for the insightful remarks, Vice Minister Oh Seok-hwan. 네, 차관님 다시 한번 감사드립니다. And next, we'll hear congratulatory remarks from Ms. Kang Eun-hee, the Superintendent of Daegu Metropolitan Office of Education. Ms. Kang Eun-hee has contributed to various policies as a member of the 19th National Assembly and as the 5th Minister of Gender Equality and Family. And since 2018, she has been leading the education of Daegu by introducing various advanced education systems, including the IB education. Please give her another round of applause.
네, 반갑습니다. 국제학생지원연합 회원 여러분과 대구에 참석하신 모든 분들 환영합니다. 이곳 대구에서 오늘 개최되는 국제학생지원연합의 행사는 여러 전문가들의 의견뿐만 아니라 또 여러 가지 교육 박람회와 여러 취업 지원 다양한 형태를 볼 수 있는 중요한 기회인 것 같습니다. 이 행사를 유치하신 한국장학재단 배병일 이사장님과 여러분들께 진심으로 축하와 감사 인사를 드립니다. 그리고 교육부 굉장히 지금 바쁘실 텐데 오석한 교육부 차관님 감사드리고요. 대구 김선조 부시장님 교육에 또 대구 강역시가 교육에 많은 애정을 갖고 계신 부분도 감사드립니다. 무엇보다도 존경하는 대학 총장님들께서 함께 해주셔서 고등교육의 미래를 함께 논의하고 길을 찾는 좋은 자리이기도 한 것 같습니다. 그리고 9년간의 장기 집권을 하시면서 많은 봉사를 해오신 아힘 마이어 회장님 감사드리고 또 축하드립니다. 국제학생지원연합은 고등교육 상황에서 우리 학생들, 젊은이들을 어떻게 지원하느냐에 대한 전 세계적인 관심과 지원, 실천을 지속적으로 해온 것으로 알고 있습니다. 우리 대한민국도 초등, 유초, 중고 교육에서부터 고등교육을까지 상당한 수준의 학생 지원이 지속적으로 진화해 왔습니다. 유초, 중, 고등학교까지는 전 세계가 놀랄 만한 매우 상당한 수준의 지원이 되어서 정말 아이들을 기초적으로 키우고 학습을 하는 데는 전혀 비용이 들지 않는 그런 상황까지도 이루어낸 상황입니다. 하지만 또 대한민국은 사교육에 대한 문제를 극복하지 못해서 그런 부분에 개인이 부담하는 비용은 여전히 많아서 안타까운 현실이기도 합니다. 고등교육 재정과 대한민국은 또 유초, 중등 교육 재정이 바스켓이 달라 있어서 이런 부분에 대한 갈등과 또 논의도 지속적으로 되고 있습니다. 저는 개인적으로 아직까지는 우리 중등까지의 교육 재정과 고등교육 재정은 좀 더 분리되어서 양쪽을 좀 더 균형 있게 지원하는 방법에 대한 고민이 필요하다고 생각합니다. 그렇지만 또 더불어서 학생 개인을 봤을 때는 충분히 고등교육을 받고 싶은 모든 학생들은 거기에 적절한 서비스가 필요하다고 생각합니다. 특별히 한국장학재단이 설립된 이후 국가장학금이라는 굉장히 좋은 발상이 시작이 되어 아이들에게는 학생들에게는 그 부분이 충분히 또 지원이 되고 최근에는 상당히 낮은 이율로 지원이 되면서 젊은 학생들에게 부담을 완화하고 있습니다. 더불어서 풍부하고 질 좋은 삶을 사는 데는 무엇이 필요한가? 저는 개인적으로 굉장히 고민을 했을 때 고등교육을 받고자 하는 많은 중등 졸업자들이 열망을 하고 있는데 그 고등교육이 우리 젊은이들의 삶을 좀 더 풍요롭게 하고 더 나은 세상을 만드는데 정말 중요한 기여를 한다고 생각합니다. 좋은 직업을 찾기 위해 혹은 더 나은 삶을 살기 위해 그리고 더 나은 국가와 더 나은 세계를 위해서 고등교육이 해야 할 역할은 매우 중차대하다고 생각합니다. 그럴 때 누구나 원하는 더 좋은 교육을 받고 저 좋은 교육을 받은 젊은이들이 더 좋은 세상을 만드는 데 기여할 수 있도록 적절한 지원과 꼼꼼한 체계가 필요합니다. 이 자리에 모이신 분들이 지혜로운 발상을 하셔서 우리 젊은 세대에게 더 좋고 풍부한 지원이 될 수 있도록 마음을 모아주셨으면 합니다. 저희도 유초 중등 교육뿐만 아니라 대학 교육에 같이 함께 갈 수 있는 많은 고민을 함께 하고 있습니다. 지혜로운 결론들과 방향을 제시할 수 있는 좋은 자리가 되시기를 진심으로 기원합니다. 고맙습니다.
네, 강은희 교육관님 감사드립니다. And last but not least, we will hear congratulatory remarks from Mr. Kim Sun-jo, the Deputy Mayor of Daegu Metropolitan City. Mr. Kim Sun-jo has contributed to various regional development policies as the Director General of Planning and Coordination at Ulsan Metropolitan City and the Director General of Regional Development Policy at the Ministry of the Interior and Safety. And since December 2023, he has been leading the regional development in Daegu as the Deputy Mayor of Daegu Metropolitan City. Please give him another warm round of applause.
대구시 행정부시장 김선조입니다. 먼저 2024년 국제학생지원연합 글로벌 서밋과 대구 대학교육 박람회를 대구에서 개최하게 되어 무척 기쁘고 영광스럽게 생각합니다. 이 뜻깊은 행사를 준비해 주신 한국장학재단과 국제학생지원연합 회원 및 모든 관계자 여러분들께 각별한 감사와 환영의 말씀을 전합니다. 특히 지속가능한 미래를 위해 전 세계가 협력하고 연대하도록 꾸준히 교육혁신을 실행하고 있는 IASAS 아힘 마이어 회장님과 회원 여러분의 노고에 경의를 표합니다. 또 바쁘신 가운데서도 이 자리를 빛내주시기 위해서 참석하신 오석환 교육부 차관님, 강은희 교육감님, 그리고 대학 총장님들과 지역기관장님들께도 감사의 인사를 드립니다. 여러분도 아시다시피 대구는 교육도시답게 전국 최초로 올해 시청 내에 대학정책국을 신설하여 대학 및 대학생 지원 정책을 전담하고 있습니다. 올해는 지역과 대학이 함께 성장할 수 있는 혁신 생태계 조성을 비전으로 삼아 다양한 사업들을 활발하게 추진하고 있습니다. 특히 대구광역시는 교육부가 주관하고 있는 글로컬 대학 30 프로젝트에 적극 참여하여 지역 대학의 국제화와 특성화를 견인하고자 합니다. 이번 국제 행사에서 세계 저명 석학들과 전문가들이 교육 혁신과 학생 지원 방안을 심도 있게 논의하실 것으로 기대하고 있습니다. 다시 한번 의미 있는 행사 개최를 축하드리면서 참석자 여러분 모두의 건강과 행복을 기원합니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you, Mayor Kim, Deputy Mayor Kim. 네, 김선조 부시장님 감사합니다. Next, let's watch the introduction video of COSEF, which co-organized this event with IASAS.
We think carefully about the limitless potential of the younger generation. We hope for the unshakable path to one's goals and dreams. And that's why we prepare for the future of education, cheering for the dreams of the younger generation and offering them solid support. A place where the dreams of future talents come true. This is the Korea Student Aid Foundation. Regardless of economic conditions, the Korea Student Aid Foundation has been at the forefront of innovation, ensuring that anyone with determination and ability can have access to higher education opportunities. Since its establishment in 2009, the foundation has introduced initiatives to reduce the burden of student loans, starting with direct student loans and later implementing the income contingent loan program. Furthermore, the foundation has transformed the paradigm of scholarships from being solely based on academic performance to scholarships based on household income levels. In efforts to alleviate the burden of tuition fees, the government grant program has significantly strengthened support for low-income individuals. Additionally, scholarships for families with multiple children and scholarships for local talents have been implemented to provide equal educational opportunities. The history of the Korea Student Aid Foundation is a history of challenging the societal issues of deepening inequality and educational polarization. The Korea Student Aid Foundation is expanding its funding sources for various scholarships, procured from the government while increasing its scale every year. It offers differentiated support in conjunction with economic conditions through the government grant, which provides support based on individual needs. And the National Excellence Scholarship identifies outstanding students from different fields and provides comprehensive support for tuition and living expenses. Additionally, the Blue Lighthouse Scholarship supports outstanding university students from low-income backgrounds through donations. For young individuals juggling studies and employment, the Foundation offers the National Work-Study Program and the Employment-Related Scholarship. These scholarships create a stable academic environment and offer opportunities for diverse vocational experiences. The student loan program reduces the burden on students who need to focus on their studies and allows them to borrow funds at lower interest rates than financial institutions. These loans can be used to cover tuition fees and living expenses not covered by scholarships. Students have the option to repay the principal and interest during the desired loan period, or if they meet certain criteria, can begin repaying the loan based on their income level, starting from the point of generating a certain income, such as through employment. The repayment of loans by the alumni who have found employment serves as a foundation for current students and younger generations, enabling them to pursue their dreams. Letting others pursue their dreams as those who have done so before successfully. The Foundation's Talent Development Scholarship Program serves as a compass for university students, with mentors from various professional fields guiding and assisting them in designing their future paths. In turn, university student mentors provide academic guidance and career counseling to their junior students in elementary, middle, and high school levels. The Korea Student Aid Foundation, being close to students and understanding their needs, strives to address the housing issues of university students through the operation of the Unified Student Dormitory. Additionally, the Startup Supporting Dormitory provides free housing and entrepreneurship workspace simultaneously, enabling young individuals to pursue their entrepreneurial dreams without limitations of time and space. The Korea Student Aid Foundation, committed to creating an inclusive and happier society, has taken social responsibility by actively engaging in sustainable social contribution activities. It leads the way in practicing and promoting the value of sharing.
한국장학재단은 ESG 경영체제 하에서 높은 전문성과 투명성, 공정성을 바탕으로 더 많은 학생과 청년들에게 고등교육의 기회를 제공하고 국가와 사회가 필요로 하는 창의적 인재, 글로벌 인재 양성에 앞장서겠습니다.
The Foundation has always been at the forefront of change, leading the way in shaping the times. As the world's top institution for supporting talent development scholarships, the Korea Student Aid Foundation stands tall, continuing to forge ahead on its path, bringing dreams and hopes together. At the center of it all is the Korea Student Aid Foundation, a foundation working together to support the future of our younger generations, enabling the dreams of the future talents to spread their wings. Korea Student Aid Foundation.
Definitely, we were able to see the efforts of KOSEF in supporting students in Korea. We heard that they also provide significant help for the event. Please give KOSEF a big round of applause once again. And lastly, we'll take a commemorative photo to mark today's event. KOSEF guests, IASAS board members, keynote speakers, and KOSEF executives, please come up to the stage for the photo session. When I say 1, 2, 3, why don't you just smile? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Smile. Thank you very much. And distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the opening ceremony. And after the event, please follow the guides holding signs to visit the University Education Exhibition Hall. We kindly ask all of you to please follow the guides. And after a short arrangement, the keynote speech will begin at 11 a.m. So those of you who wish to attend, please be seated by then. Thank you very much. Please follow the guides holding signs to visit University Education Exhibition Hall for those who want to. And we kindly ask all of you to please follow the guides. And after a short arrangement, the keynote speech will begin at 11 a.m. So those of you who wish to attend, please be seated by 11 a.m. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll begin the first keynote speech of the IASAS Global Summit shortly. So distinguished guests and attendees, we kindly ask you to set your phones to vibrant or silent mode.
Where is the camera? Camera is here? What is the camera? Okay.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I'm Haewon Kim, your MC for the morning sessions. And following the opening ceremony, we'll now proceed with the keynote speech. Please welcome Professor Birgit Schreiber. No, this is hard to pronounce her name, so I'm really sorry. Please welcome Professor Vice President of the International Association of University to the stage, which you are. I'm really sorry, what's your pronunciation of the name?
Sorry?
Can I ask for your pronunciation of your name? I just don't want to.
You want it in Arabic, in English, or in French?
It's her name. I'm sorry, it's so hard for me to pronounce. And thank you very much. So please welcome the Vice President of the International Association of the Universities, and please give her a big round of applause. Dr. Jouhaina Gherib has published over 30 scientific papers and has been conducting various academic research on strategic decision-making, corporate social responsibility, entrepreneurship, and sustainable development goals. And please give her another big round of applause.
Thank you very much. Do you hear me? Yes, good. So, dear audience, it's a great pleasure for me to be here today and a great honor to deliver this speech in this very important conference. I didn't heard about it before, but now that I'm here, I think this is really something that is very important for all universities. So when Birgit, that I thank particularly, invited me in December 2023, I checked my agenda. I saw that this week was still free, and I decided immediately to accept. I accepted because I find it very good opportunity to learn more about your association. This was very important. I read a lot on your association, and I think this is really a global association that is very important for higher education. The second reason was that the theme is part of my sphere of interest and competence. The third reason, and not the less important, was that this allowed me to keep a promise I made to myself when I was very young, so much younger than today, when I was in secondary school, and I was passing every day by the Korean embassy that was just very near my school in Tunisia, and I kept a promise to visit this country one day. So it's done. Thank you very much. But I accepted, especially because I think that in our field, in higher education, it is important to give a voice to women. And I want to thank IASAS once again to give the voice to 2 women for the keynote speakers. And it's very important to give a voice to women, especially when they are in higher education sector, and they are from the global south. I think this is important. And this could give interesting new perspectives. So this is one of the reasons why I accepted without thinking a lot. But just after having accepted, I was, what will I say? I thought a lot about how best to approach the proposed topic in an innovative way, useful to the audience. I will therefore start from my personal experience. This will be a very personal presentation in order to ask some questions about the progress made by universities in the field of sustainable development and draw with you some lessons in order to answer this question and hopefully help move the commitment of universities in the right direction. This will not be a kind of recipe, nor a testimony, but rather recommendation and concrete courses of action. So as I said, this will be personal. So let me begin by presenting my background and how this will influence my presentation. As you can see, I'm a PhD of strategic management, and I did the research for a long period on corporate social responsibility. This was important because I just chose to study the way that company business engage in sustainable development, and especially SMEs. And SMEs are not so different in some way from the universities that have to engage in sustainable development for the first time. This was my first interest. The second one is that I was an executive director and founder of the United Nations Global Compact Network in Tunisia. So I used really to help SMEs engage in sustainable development, and I saw the problem they had. I was also vice president of the University of Manouba in 2011. I don't know if you know, but in 2011, it was the spring. It was the revolution in Tunisia. It began in Tunisia. This was years very difficult and very hopeful for Tunisia. And I was part of the first board elected in a university in Tunisia. But universities were very, very seen by the other parts of the actors in the country as having a role, a different role, a new role. And we were there to answer questions we didn't ask ourselves. So this was really important, a very, very important period. After that, I was elected twice, president of this university, and I'm president of this university. A woman in an Arabic Islamic country, elected twice. I had 3 men, sorry men, I had 3 men against me, and this was an experience very, very important. And this made me look at the things maybe a little bit differently. And I'm now vice president for Africa for the International Association of Universities and lead at the global level of the working group on higher education and sustainable development. So this will be the part of my presentation. My presentation, I call it University and Sustainable Development, Lessons from a Third Mission in the Spotlight. It will be 4 parts. I will set the scene, present my university, my country, and some conceptual precision, give you some insights from the ground, and finish with some recommendation and a call for action. So, my university, the University of Manouba. My university I have 15 institutions, 133 diplomas, about 18,000 students, 1,500 faculty members, and about 754 administrative technical staff. It is one of the most important in the country, not in number and for the importance of this university during the period of the Arab Spring. My university is born in 2000. It's really young, but my university was born in 2000 because the governorate where it's located was born in 2000. But in the university, we have an institution that was born just after the independence of the country in 1956. We have the latest institution born in Tunisia, that is the Manouba School of Engineering. That is the first institution in Tunisia of engineering where courses are in English. And this will be important in my presentation. I now have a large scientific scope. The greater part is from humanities. And I learn a lot from humanities, even if I'm not in humanities. The second one is technology and arts. In humanities, we have many faculty members and we have less students than for the other fields. But in technology and art, it's the contrary. We have many students because everybody wants to go to technology now, but we have less professor and less faculty member. These are problems very different. And we have economy and management and life and environment science. We worked a lot at the beginning of my term to see what's different in my university, what my university had that the other university don't have. And we came with 6 singularities, and I will show you 4 of these singularities that will explain why sustainable development is very important for us. The first one, what's that? Sorry, this is technology. No? Oh. So as I told you, my university is in the capital, but it's in the poorest region of the capital. It is one of the lowest urbanization rates in the Great Tunis. So the fact that my university is in this region gave so much to the region. And one of the things that the metro arrived to university, and this is something very important for all the inhabitants of the region. My university gave some industry to this region because the university was there. So this is very different from other universities in the capital, and this was really something very important for us. The second one is that I have half of the institution unique in Tunisia. So there is no competition in some fields. I'm the only one to have veterinary school, the only one to have media, the only one to have specialized education, documentation, and the only one to have geopolitics and international relations in English, the only one to have technology in English. So the fact that some of our institutions are unique was something very important for us because we had the opportunity to do different things. We have a strong synergy and multidisciplinary research tradition. All the institutions of my university are in the same place. And this is quite different from other universities in the country. And the fact that you have a biologist and you have a humanistic and you have an economist in the same place allows us to go really very far in multidisciplinary research tradition. This was very important. The latest event that we organized was in Saniyat. It was in 2022. We have more than 1,500 people from all around the world speaking about humanities and how humanities can really be improved in all our countries, because this is one of the solutions to the problems we have, we believe. We have an education process focused on current and future generation needs. This was decided in 2012. This was really important, and the fact that the SDGs came after that make us really convinced that this is the way to do. And this is one of the criteria to accredit a diploma or to go to research. This is really something very important for us. We worked a lot on our values or our vision, and we last 1 year just to know what are the values that all these institutions share and what is the vision of university, as all the universities do. But values are critical thinking, creativity, and conviviality, and we want our university to be modern and responsible. This was decided in 2012. This was very important in the context, in the historical context of the university. But we decided that this means for us to be a human-centered community that want to attract motivated students. This was very important because we have a national baccalaureate, so everybody passes the same exam before going to college. And this is a question of offer and demand. And you can have students because they have good marks, but they're not interested in the field. And you cannot have some students very motivated, but they don't have the prerequisite for that. So the motivation is very important. And we want to provide them with constructive energies and visions to transform the world, beginning by actions in their immediate environment. This was very important for us to help students think about what they can do in the immediate environment before having the ambition to change the things at a global level. This was one of the decisions we made in 2012. So this was decided because this was what I thought was important at this time. I thought this was important because I had this experience. Other universities choose other visions, other missions, and this made the difference between the president of the university and between university. And this will be my first lesson. My first lesson is that leadership matters. If you believe in that, you can do things. It's not easy, I will show you. I'm really not successful on all the things I did, but When you believe in that, before this comes a necessity, before this comes to be something that we had to do, it's like all the innovation. You'll be in the front line. This is risky, but you have to believe in that. Otherwise, it will never succeed. So leadership is very important for that. But my university is in a country, but this country is Tunisia, North Africa. And being in this country changed a lot too. As you know, Tunisia is the gateway of Africa, and you may not know that it gave the name to the continent. Tunisia was called Ifriqiya before being called Tunisia, and this is the name of the continent. But we are very open to Europe and because we have more than 1,000 kilometers of Mediterranean coastline. We have generous nature. Maybe this is just to invite you to come to Tunisia next year. We have a generous nature because you have the sea, we have the mountain, and we have the Sahara in a very small country. So you can have all this at the same time, and this was very important for our culture. But we have over 3,000 years of history. Many countries here have this history too. But this is important to see that in the photos I put men and women. And this is important to know that the history of Tunisia was made by men and women for all these years. And this is very important for the country. And this allows it to have one of the most progressive laws and for the women's rights. This is a country too that has a great human potential. We are 50% of women, 40% under 25 years, and this is quite different from the other African country. And we have 14% over 65 years. This is quite different from the other countries in the region. So we have problems that maybe other countries in the continent don't have. We are going aging, our universities are lacking students, we have some problems that may not be associated to Africa. But we have some forces. We have 90% of primary school enrollment and 82% of literacy rate. And we have an academic system that is inclusive, diversified, and performant. Inclusive because in Tunisia, it's free of tuition. Every student has a seat in the university. And the university exists in all the regions of the country. And it was diversified because it was created by the state for the state. It was created because after the independence, we had to have the staffs in all the administration, so they created that. And it's performant, and that's what I'll show you. So this is some figures, just to know, but you'll have the presentation, you can be able to have more details. We have about 300,000 students. We have 13 public universities, my university in one of them. We have more than 500 research structures, and we have a budget that is about 4% of the total budget of the government. And this is the investment that did Tunisia in education. This is only for higher education. If you have education too, it is really, really very important for the country. When we don't have military defense, we have education one. And for governance, we have elections in all parts of the university, beginning by the academic council till the rectorate. These are like elections. The performance of our academic system is supposed, according to the Global Innovation Index, many countries do very well in this global integration, and South Korea is very good in that. But Tunisia have performance that above expectation for level of development. I'll show you just some of these things. We have 11 undergraduates per academic. We are one of the countries that have the best ratio for that. We are ranked first in Africa and MENA in percentage of female researchers. We are second or fifth, depending on the year, 2020 or 2023, worldwide in percentage of STEM graduates. And we are ranked third globally, or 10th, in number of scientific and technical articles, globally. And 66 of our university are ranked in the Times Higher Education, and 2 more are reporters, so almost all our universities are ranked. Their ranking is not so good because there are some that we cannot afford, but all the universities are ranked. But this system is rooted in the long term, and that's very important for us. If the academic system is now performant, is that because this is really in the history of the country. We can go back to the antiquity with Magon, with an agronomist, author of Viticulture Treatise, 3rd century before Christ. But we can, and my Italian colleague will be very upset of that, but some research in Oxford told that the first university still operating in the world is in Tunisia, at the University of Zitouna. The second one is in Morocco, but it is built by Tunisian women. This is Oxford studies that show that. But the real universities were born after the independence in 1960, and it was the University of Tunis. So there is a long history for that. But now, this system is challenged in a country in transition, in a country when the social lift doesn't work anymore. I'm the prototype of this social lift. I have this position. I'm not coming from a very wealthy family, and all my colleagues doesn't do. But this lift was the way for us to have this position. Now this lift is challenged. We have a post-revolution context, political instability. I've been 13 years in the university. I had 13 ministers, 13 government. There is a persistent regional inequality. This was the reason why we had a revolution, but the problem is still there. We have a lack of natural resources. We are one of the countries that don't have gas. We have 2 neighbors that have gas. We are the country that doesn't have that. That's why we invested in education, maybe, but this is a real problem for us. We have economic fabric dominated by SMEs, and we have low wages and income per capita. So what's the problem now? We have well-educated people that don't find job, a high graduate unemployment rate. And the other problem is a high brain drain. We can't really let them be in the country because there is no more jobs for them. So we invested a lot, but the return on our investment is not as much as we. So this country is open to a changing world. We are all in the same bark. Teachers are millennium now. Do you think, what does it matter? I'm not a millennium, so it's really different. Students are alpha generation. So there are different ways of working, traveling, consuming, and learning. How to deal with that? We have a strong homogeneity of practices and model. When you see a student in Tunisia, it looks like a student in UK, a student in India, or a student in South Africa. There's some difference in the way that they behave. We have a plethora of information and misinformation and domination of technology. This may be a good thing, but there are some risks. Someone said that 85% of 2030 jobs do not exist yet. I'm not sure it's still the case, but this is challenging. And as the president of the association said, there is a generalized quest of meaning. This youth is searching a sense of life and something that we didn't search for when we were young. And the world is facing unprecedented challenges. So there is a high concern for our common future. The SDGs has been ratified by 193 countries, but really, on the ground, there is slow progress and difficulty to engage with SDGs on the ground. for all these population, being universities, companies, and it is difficult to translate that in our operations, but we have to do. So, lesson 2, context matter, but it offers opportunities and challenges. And these two things may conflict. And this is the problem when you want to use the SDGs and want to engage in sustainable development. You have to know that this is not easy because things conflict and you have to find a solution. Leadership matters, but leadership is not the only thing that matters. So I will go to some conceptual precision. Everybody knows what sustainable development is. Everybody knows the 3P. So you have planet, the green one, you have the profit, and you have the people. So everybody knows. There are only 2 other P's, but these are the 3 P's that are the most known. The sustainable development is defined as a development that meets the need of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. And universities are transgenerational per definition. We have students, they are the next generation. So as university, we are very concerned about sustainable development. Historically, you know that in 1987, there was the Brundtland report that came with this, it was not new, but this was the first time where they spoke a lot about sustainable development. In 2000, there were the Millennium Objectives. There were not 17s. There were the Global Compact, some norms, the ISO 26 for the companies. In 2015, there were the Sustainable Development Goals. This was really a shift. And in 2016, we came with some way to have operationalize that. And we came with some figures. In 2019 and 18, the ISO for education system came, and this was very important for us because this is one of the norms that we can use. And 2019 was decreed as the decade of action. We are in 2024, only 6 years left. Did we did enough? I'm sure not. But universities and all that. Universities are part of this world, of sure. Universities are very interested in sustainable development, even if they don't know that, because we are here for the next generation. So the university are challenged because they are seen as traditional, but in the same way, they have to be modern. They are seen as conservative. Some of faculties are very conservative. I try to change things in some, but the mindset is difficult to change. And you have to be progressive. We are seen as inclusive, but it's real that everybody can come to university, but in some countries it's very difficult because of finance, in others it's difficult because of competition. So this was to ask questions about our missions. What are we supposed to do as universities? What are our frontiers? What are our values and principles? What are the methods and governance that we use? All these questions are questions that everybody in the higher education system is supposed to ask. But are there answers? I saw that you put in the presentation the report of the UNESCO in 2022, Knowledge-Driven Action Transforming Higher Education for Global Sustainability. This is a very, very important report. But if you read the introduction, you will find that it's time for us to do many things, and we should do many things. The pressure is here. It's time for us and our stakeholders to systemically rethink our role in society and our key mission. It's time to make sustainability literacy core requisites for all faculty members and students. We should look ahead not only to implement the SDGs, but to be intensively involved in the next step. We should inspire societal change when necessary, and we should think critically about our own practices, curricula, research, and about how to motivate our employees, students, and society at large to do the same. This is clear enough to put pressure. But is it easy? Can we do it? How to do it? This is the question I'll ask. You know that in the theory, to see that some organizations become to behave the same, to have a collective rationality, there are some of isomorphism that lead the institution to do something that can be shared and that can become an institution after that and become rules. And there are three types of isomorphism. The coercion, that be your law, for example. You can have a law that this is the way to do. The second one is the mimetism. When you see people doing something, you do like them. An organization is always following the organization that they see as leaders, and they do the same. And this leads all the organization to be quite similar at the end. And there are norms. When we have experts in a field, these experts will go and learn to all the partner how the things have to be. And this will be the new norm. This has been done for business. For business, we have laws. In Tunisia, we have a law for social responsibility. We have a lot of mimetism, because everybody is trying, some are doing greenwashing, but others are doing real things, but because they can't afford not to do that. And the third one is that now we have a specialist in social responsibility that are hired in our companies in all around the world. So we really arrived at a time when business is really considering social responsibility as an institution, something to do. We are not yet in this position for higher education. For higher education, we have some ranking for impact. This is important. I just have to say that I don't appreciate the ranking of excellence, because I think this is really about competition, and that's really not what we need. We need cooperation. And if we have to compete, let's compete for impact. And this type of ranking are very important. This type of ranking can, by mimetism, push our university to be more responsible. We have some norms too. And on all the norms, the social responsibility is becoming more and more important. What we can say is that today, all the universities think and announce that they have three missions. We have education, of course, teaching. We have research, of course. But now, it's really, when you go on all the development plan of our university, you'll have the third mission. All the universities think about how to engage with communities. This was not the norm in the early century. So this is something new. This is not something that is really strong. All the universities don't know how to do, but this is a unifying framework that put the third mission in the spotlight. Everybody is searching, what is this third mission? How can I do more? I can do it with teaching and with research, or I can do it per se. So the third lesson is that the third mission of university is on the spotlight. And we need to transform ourselves. This is very important. We can't do business as usual. It's no more possible for university. And those that don't understand that today will be, as all the other companies are now, out of history. So this is very important to transform higher education institutions. Thank you. How many times left? Thank you. He's Italian because I said that I have the oldest universities in the world. Thank you. So we need to transform ourselves. Transformation is needed. And I will arrive at the third part of my presentation, and I will present some of the insights in my position as Vice President of the International Association of Universities. So I show you what I tried to do in my university, what I saw other universities do by research, and now I will try to show you what, at the global level, is already done. You have two surveys that had been done with the International Association. I will give you some of these results. But before that, I present to the association. Now, like the IASAS, it's a global association. It's a global association created by UNESCO in 1950, and it's based in Paris. It's a global membership association with 600 members from more than 120 countries. It works on the database of higher education and accredited institutions. It has a role of advocacy to United Nations and to research, publication, networking. This is the vision of the association. But the most important are the values and the mission. You see that from the values of the institution, some of the values cross the values of your association. And this is very important. So integrity is very important. Academic freedom is very important. And quality in learning, research, and outreach is important. Appreciation of diversity is very important. Global responsibility towards all communities, and equity, solidarity, and cooperation. These are the core values of the association that tries to contribute to peace and human development by promoting and enhancing the power of higher education to transform lives. Build capacity, connect diverse people, generate and disseminate new knowledge, create insights, and find sustainable solutions to local and global challenges. There are 4 strategic priorities: leadership, internationalization, sustainable development, and digital transformation. These were the 4 priorities that we decided in 2022. But I will talk more about the higher education and research for sustainable development that is for interest for us today. The objectives are 4. We have encourage peer-to-peer learning in this topic. We have to share expertise on sustainable development goals. Foster whole institution approach to at the leadership level to integrate sustainable development priorities, and provide leadership trainings, capacity building, and networking service. As I said, leadership is very important. And as I will develop, the way to make it happen is not very difficult, just have to begin. From the activities, you can go to the portal. You will see that we have many higher education initiatives all around the world that are communicated. You can see what universities do in many countries, and this is just amazing. And universities are doing a lot. They were doing something that didn't really think it was about sustainable development, but now that they know, they say, yeah, I do that. I always do that. I didn't know that this is important, and I have to communicate on that. So this is new, and this is very important. We conduct survey, and we have events, and we develop and share knowledge. One of the most important products that we have in the association in the Global Higher Education Sustainability Cluster, launched in 2018. It's about each of the SDGs have a lead and have other universities that are the satellite. And they work together on this SDG. So, and the association leads the partnership one. And the member organization can be part of it, and your association can be part of this higher education cluster to foster together and to how partnership is important to do more. Our common goal, enhance higher education engagement with sustainable development in teaching and learning, research and campus and community engagement. And this is the very strong network from universities all around the world One of the biggest problems is to find a time slot where everybody can work, because some is sleeping, the other one is still waking. So this is one of the difficulties of the Global Association, but the result is usually very, very good, because this is how we are really trained to speak the same language and to have the same questions and to try to find solution. We had three surveys, the third survey on higher education sustainable development, and the sixth one on internationalization that was made in 2023. You can find the result. How much? Okay. So this is key takeaway. SDGs are identified by the university we asked for as a framework. And this is very useful to work across different disciplines. This was made very clear. The second one is leadership is identified as being very important, but not enough, because academic staff was the most involved. And I can tell you that the administrative were not seen as something very involved, so there is something to do with that. Whole institution can be improved. We need visibility, and there are regional differences when working with SDGs. Area of work on SDGs. This is some areas of work, and the most important thing is that to know that SDG 4, this is what quality of education, is the one where the amount of work is the most. And the one when we have really not enough, or it's really something that is not judged as important, was the sea life. This has to be analyzed, because the SDGs are translated in teaching, research, community engagement, campus initiative, and depends on the university, depends on the context, but we have to work together. The second result is that internationalization is very linked to community and societal engagement. This appears very important, 60%, even if only 22% impact this assessment. There are still substantial regional differences, and I go back to this presentation if you want to have more details. I don't have so much time. And one of the things that do the universities to link internationalization and community engagement are organizing events like this with international speakers, commitment at regional level, this is very important, and international development cooperation. Okay, I don't have time for that. So the lesson 4 that higher education transformation is a process where human resources and networks are the key, are very important. Without human resources, you can't do anything. Technology is very good, I'm sure, but really, if there are some resistance, it will be human. So human resources are very important, and network can help us overcome that. So this is the main lesson I just presented. Oops. I arrived to the last part of my presentation, recommendations. I arrived for recommendation to the what to do, and how to do it. The first one is the what. And I'll be back to the report of the UNESCO that shows us how to do. But they identify 3 areas of transformation of higher education institution. If we want really universities to go forward in the sustainable development, we have to, first of all, to move towards inter and transdisciplinarity in education and research. This is key. We can no more be specialized as we are. The problems are complex. So we have to learn, we have to listen to the other disciplines, and we have to work on that. All the universities must work on that. The second one is the imperative need for an institution to become open and integrate other ways of knowing. There is no one way of knowing. We have to integrate the other one. And the last one is the demand for a much stronger presence in society through proactive outreach activity and partnership to build awareness and influence policy. This is really developed in the report. I will not develop it because you can read it. But what is important for that is that call us for there is an urgent call for action. Guys, university specialists, there is only 6 years left for 2030, and you have to be here to know what to do next. But how? Building on my experience and what I saw in some universities that was successful for that and some that was not, I think that there are at least 5 things that are important. The first one is to drive the change, adopt the whole institution approach, increase the visibility with students at the center and value-driven partners. Drive the change. The change is not really something very easy to do, but leadership have to ring the bell. We can no more continue at that. This is important to begin the change and to unfreeze, to change and to refreeze. The second one is that you have to adopt a whole institution approach. Multidisciplinarity is important, whole institution is important too. You have to increase the visibility of your actions. You have to put the student at the center. This is sometimes written, but on the ground, this is not done. This is the faculty member that is in the center, not the student somewhere. The other one is to engage with value-driven global partner to define that. IASAS is one of them. And if I have to finish, what I tried to demonstrate, I have so many other ideas, but I have no time. But as I said in the introduction, this was a presentation from my own experience. I tried to build on what worked in my university, and as well as on what I saw work in others, but was not able to achieve. And if I had to pass only a single message to get across, it would be the following. We are all in the same boat. There is still a long way to go, but there is an urgency and no one can do alone. We need to change. And now that the third mission is on the spotlight, your role as organization is key. Nothing will be done without you. You are one of the key actors in the system, and this is your duty to make your university transform their own practice just to be able to transform the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jouhaina Gherib. And this concludes the morning schedule for today. Please enjoy your lunch and take a break from 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. The afternoon session will be starting at 1:30 p.m. And you can check the detailed topics of each session in the handouts that were provided to you during registration. The Korean buffet will be served for lunch, so please move to the tadamte on the second floor, following the staff's guidance. Entry will be possible after staff checks your IASAS Global Summit name tag at the entrance of the restaurant, so please make sure to bring your name tag with you. Once again, Korean buffet will be served for lunch, and please move to the tadamte on the second floor, following the staff's guidance. Entry will be possible after staff checks your IASAS Global Summit name tag at the entrance of the restaurant, so please make sure to bring your name tag with you. Thank you very much.